Hey y'all, Rick Rex here, back with another one for you on DCUO. And this time we're starting our look at the Atomic Power Set. Now I had some struggles with this one all the way around, but I managed to get it together for y'all and I can't wait to show you what I've got cooked up. Now we of course are going to take a look at the important stuff, the mods, the artifacts, the allies, the build, and the loadout, and yes, we'll see what kind of damage it puts out. But first, if you like what you see and you want more, hit that like and subscribe button to help keep the channel growing and also to not miss one single update as they drop. Okay, so Atomic. Now this one was really tricky from the time that I started working on it to the time that I finished it up. Now I usually tend to tank on my live Atomic tunes, so trying to piece this one together was, well, I'm not going to call it fun, but it was a ride and I did manage to make it something to be proud of for all you Atomic lovers out there. Now this power set's really funny in a lot of ways. To begin with, you were so limited to combo powers almost all the way around, and that does one really bad thing. It makes clipping or cutting off the animation early kind of tricky to say the least. Now the next thing that really stumped me is the stark lack of dots or damage over time powers, so putting together a full complement of loadouts was, well, we'll call it interesting. Now I will say though that we did get this one to compete in all the right places, so buckle up and let's get to work. Now we'll start out with our white mods as always. In our weapon, we're going replenishing adapter, so in case we run out of power, we can get it back quickly. Now Atomic is super power friendly due to its combos across the power set, so I don't really think this will be an issue, but better safe than sorry, right? In our head, we're going supercharged Atomic Blast. Now this is one of the things that hung me up, and I was really trying to figure out which supercharge works best, and I'll get to why we're going with Atomic Blast here shortly. In our neck, we're going Escalating Might to take advantage of the extra 2% might that it gives us when it procs. In our back, we're going Berserker damage, and we just don't have any type of a cooldown issue at all with any of the loadouts, so let's opt for the extra damage when the situation arises. In our chest, we're going Penetrating Strikes for the NPC defense reduction. And by the way, if you haven't switched over to this from core strength, it's time and you'll thank me later. In our legs, we're going Restorative Electron Flare. Now we aren't going to be using this in this loadout, but it does play into another build later on, so let's pop this in for simplicity's sake. In our feet, we're going Tumbling Master to keep us out of trouble, and with content focusing on the need to get out of the way quickly more and more, this is a necessity nowadays, y'all. And in our hands, we're going Max Damage for the extra 2% damage buff that it gives us when it procs. For artifacts, we're going with the Trans Strat Solar combo for this one. Trans for the extra crits that it provides, Strat to leverage those crits into innate damage, and Solar to give us the massive bump in might, the extra damage plus the burst damage at the end of heat vision, and the empowered channeling mod install, which is super important when it comes to single target as it's all about that channeling, y'all. For our allies, we're going with the single target trinity, which is House of Legends, Batman Who Laughs, and Shazam. Now we're using House of Legends in the damage slot for his Shock Jock ability. He is still the king of single target damage, and that means that he's the one for this slot, y'all. In our first passive, we're using Batman Who Laughs for his Luck of the Draw ability and the buff that his cards provide us. Now, this one is a staple, y'all. Every single DPS out there should be running him no matter what. And in our second passive, the newest member of the group is Shazam for his Power the Shazamly ability. Now this one gives us a 6% might bump whenever we throw our ally. This buff lasts for 30 seconds and that alone makes him another indispensable ally for this passive slot. So if you haven't gotten Shazam yet, it's time. He's a keeper, y'all. Now for our build, let's start out with our weapon. Now we won't be spending any points here as we simply won't be using it. And for our movement mode, let's take our super up top and then one on the second row of your choosing, doesn't matter which, and then let's grab our innates. Acrobatics to the lower right, and everyone else to the left. Now for our iconics, we're only going to need to pick up Robot Sidekick and Heat Vision here, so no need to spend any other points. And for our skill or stat points, we're going super powered focus, we're going to max out our crit attack chance and damage, and then we're going to dump everything into might and power. Anything remaining after that is going to go straight into health because remember y'all, a dead DPS does no DPS. So let's peek at the stats right quick. With this build, it puts my might at 179, 194. Now I bring this up so y'all can get a good idea of how this loadout will perform. My might on live is significantly higher than it is on this tune, so y'all should notice that as well. And now for the star of the show, and that's the loadout. So we're going with Irradiate, Amplified Heat Vision, Particle Beam, and Geiger Beam. And we're going to round that out with Atomic Blast and Robot Sidekick. Okay, so to break this down a little, the only dot available for Atomic is Irradiate, and that happens to work perfectly for our single target build. Now, two staples of any single target loadout are Amplified Heat Vision and the power set's finisher, so we're going to plug those two in as well. Now, the best hitting quick burst low cooldown power in the power set is also a specific single target power, which is Particle Beam. So that makes this a pure single target build, which I love. Robot Sidekick, of course, is a given, as there is nothing that beats innate damage that you just simply don't have to waste time pressing a button to get. And then there's the Super. Now, this one was challenging because I almost went with Neo Venom Boost because the supers available for the power set are just subpar at best. But the one thing that does make Atomic Blast work and exceed is the fact that it has a 0.5 second cooldown, and doing it back to back actually outperforms Radiation Burn pretty significantly. So double the pleasure, double the fun. Let's go with Atomic Blast. Now our rotation here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, and rinse and repeat. So now that we have all of that out of the way, let's check out what kind of damage this thing can do. Okay, awesome. So this one, as you can see, hits pretty darn strong, y'all, but we'll start out as always with the bad. Now our low comes in at 101,966, which isn't horrible for a low, but once this one does get rolling, it does some great damage. So speaking of, our high comes in at 143,899 damage per second, which is fantastic damage for a single target parse. Now, we did have a few creep up into that area, so I love to see that, but it looks like the loadout will live at or average out around to the mid 120s damage per second range. Now, even though this one did so well, it's time for my favorite part. Let's drop everything. Man, I love that. Okay, so our big hit comes in at 602,762 damage per second. That's right, for those of y'all sitting in the back, that's over 6 million in damage in 10 seconds. You want to melt a boss? This is the way. Now we followed that big hit up with one in the 160s before settling back down into normal. And to my atomic friends, I know the DPS on this power set has been a struggle, but enjoy this one and the next few to come because it's made a difference on my tune as well. Now these loadouts will not only allow you to compete in damage, but to win a few as well. So enjoy it. Now that's it for this one. So once again, if you like what you see and you want more, hit that like and subscribe button to help keep the channel growing and also to not miss one single update as they drop. I'll see y'all next time.